Two neurologists went on the Mel Robbins Podcast and said that one dietary approach can cut your risk of Alzheimer's by 53%. Not 5, not 15, but 53%. I pulled the study, I read it, and that number held up. Then I found two other brain diets with similar evidence. All three, all backed by research, all targeting the same organ, your brain. I'm gonna break down what all three diets say, and then I'm gonna show you where they agree, where they differ, then I'm gonna rate them so you know how to practically integrate them into your life.
The studies have shown, mine study, that just good nutrition reduces your chance of Alzheimer's by 53%.
53%?
Your brain is incredibly forgiving and resilient.
That is Dr. Dean Sherzai. He and his wife, Dr. Ayesha Sherzai, are board-certified neurologists who specialize in Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. They wrote the best-selling book, The Alzheimer's Solution. They run the largest brain health community outreach program in America. They work in communities across central Los Angeles. Hi, my name is Michael, and this is Because I've Seen It, where every week I find health research that matters, I break it down, and I give it an implementation rating so you know how practical it actually is to use the evidence in your life. If that sounds useful, subscribe to the channel. I also write a weekly newsletter that goes deeper onto these topics. The link is in the description. So where does that 53% come from? It comes from a study at Rush University led by Dr. Clare Morris. She developed something called the MIND diet, M-I-N-D, which stands for Mediterranean-Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. It's a hybrid of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet, specifically designed for your brain's health. The study followed 923 people between the ages of 58 and 98 for 4.5 years. It was completely funded by the Institute on Aging, NIA. People who followed the MIND diet closely had a 53% lower rate of developing Alzheimer's compared to those who did not follow the diet. But here is what caught my attention. Even people who followed it moderately, not perfectly, but just moderately, saw a 35% reduction in Alzheimer's development. That matters because most people have a hard time following diets perfectly. And this study says that you don't actually have to.
When people did one or two of these habits, they reduced their chance of Alzheimer's by 30% or so. When they did 4 of them, they actually reduced it by 60%.
60% reduction?
Yes.
By following these 5 simple habits?
Correct.
When you stack your diet with other brain habits such as exercise, sleep, stress management, social connection, the Sherzai say this cumulative reduction pushes past 60%, but the diet alone at 53% is the single biggest lever. Here is what I want you to hear before I walk through each diet individually.
Studies have shown that people who add 1 serving of leafy green vegetables like spinach or kale or collard greens to their diet, right? It could be raw, cooked, frozen, whatever. If they ate that on a regular basis, they had a brain that was 11 years younger.
What?
Yeah.
I looked at the MIND diet. I looked at the Mediterranean diet. And I looked at a third approach called KetoFLEX 12-3 that takes a different angle on brain fuel. They agree on about 80% of the foods we should be eating. All 3 say eat leafy greens every day. All 3 say use olive oil, nuts, seeds, berries. All 3 dietary approaches say cut ultra-processed food. All 3 say whole foods are better than supplements. If you did nothing else but follow that 80%, you would be ahead of almost everyone else. 1 serving of leafy green vegetables a day, spinach, kale, collard greens. That data says people who ate 1 serving daily had cognitive decline rates equivalent to being 11 years younger than people who rarely ate those same green vegetables. That comes from the same Rush University team, published in the Journal of Neurology in 2018. That is not a supplement, that is not a program, that is a handful of spinach in your soup. So let me walk you through each dietary approach. The MIND diet is where the 53% number comes from. It emphasizes leafy greens, berries, nuts, beans, whole grains, fish, poultry, and olive oil. It limits butter, cheese, red meats, fried foods, and pastries. Of the 3 diets, it's probably the easiest to follow, and it has the most published evidence specifically for cognitive outcomes. The one thing I want to be honest about, the 2023 randomized control trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine tested this MIND diet head-to-head, but was unable to replicate the 53% finding. The observational data still holds up across multiple studies, but the randomized data is mixed. The field is still sorting it out. I tell you that because I would want someone to tell me. Now, the Mediterranean diet is the traditional eating pattern from countries along the Mediterranean coast, such as Greece. They consume vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, fish, and olive oil. It's more flexible than the MIND diet. It allows all fruits and cheese in moderation, even some red wine. In the same 2015 Morris paper, high adherence to the Mediterranean diet cut Alzheimer's risk by 54%. That's nearly identical to the MIND diet. It's also the most studied diet in medical history. It is the gold standard for cardiovascular health. And as we've learned in previous episodes, what's good for the heart is also great for your brain. The third option is somewhat less familiar. It's called KetoFLEX 12-3. It is a plant-rich, mildly ketogenic diet paired with intermittent fasting. You fast a minimum of 12 hours between dinner and breakfast, and at least 3 hours needs to pass between your last meal and your bedtime. The logic is straightforward. As the brain ages, it loses the ability to burn glucose efficiently. We talked about Dr. Lisa Marconi's brand scans in a previous episode that showed that glucose metabolism can drop roughly 30% from premenopause to postmenopause. We covered that. So when glucose slows down, ketones offer an alternative food source. Your brain runs on both. The idea behind the KetoFLEX approach is to train the body to produce ketones so the brain has a backup when the glucose is no longer enough fuel. Clinical trials on this approach are in the progress, but they have yet to be published. The mechanism is supported by research, but the long-term outcome data is still coming along. But I will say this is the path I chose after reading the research. It made sense to me given my family history. That is all I am claiming. 3 diets, strong overlap on the foundation, different philosophies on the last 20%. MIND and Mediterranean have the most published evidence right now. KetoFLEX has the logical mechanism, but the clinical data is still in progress. But the brain best diet is the one you can follow, not for a week, not for a month, for the rest of your life. Pick the pattern that fits your life, your history, and your kitchen. If you're finding this useful, please subscribe to the channel. I do this every week. So let me rate them. I look at 3 things when I give an implementation rating: affordability, ease of implementation, and the strength of the evidence. For affordability, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. The work is underserved communities in central LA. They designed this around foods you can find at any grocery store: leafy beans, greens, whole grains, olive oils, no supplements required, no special products to buy, just whole food. Ease of implementation, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. You have 3 diet options, which gives you flexibility. Even moderate adherence to the MIND diet gave a 35% reduction in Alzheimer's. And the entry point is just 1 serving of greens a day. That's about as low of a barrier as you can get. But sustained dietary change is hard. It takes time to build new habits. If you're looking at that 4 out of 5 thinking, I do not know where to start, well then that's exactly what I do. I am a health and wellness coach. If you need a call, please, there's a link in the description. Now, as far as evidence strength, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 as well. The MIND study is solid. 923 people for 4.5 years, funded by NIA. The Mediterranean diet is the most studied diet in history. I'm holding back 1 star because the New England Journal of Medicine randomized trial was unable to replicate the MIND results, and the KetoFLEX clinical trials have yet to be published. The direction of the evidence is strong. Some of the specific numbers behind them, though, need more research. The overall implementation rating for the Sherzer's brain diet research is 4.3 out of 5. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this: add just 1 serving of leafy greens to your meals a day. Add some spinach to your soup, kale in a smoothie, arugula on whatever you are already eating. The research shows that 1 change done consistently is linked to cognitive decline rates 11 years slower. That's not my opinion, that is the data. Start there. If this was useful, please subscribe to the channel. I break down health research like this every week and give it a rating so you know what is actually worth implementing in your life. I also write a newsletter that goes deeper on these topics. There's a link in the description. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next week.